Hey hikers, Lee from Trailside Fitness. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the gear that I'm going to use to hike the Pacific Northwest Trail this year. Stay tuned. So a couple of notes on gear itself. First, I am not ultralight. I'm just going to show you what I use because I know it works for me. I know how to trim down my kit and make it lighter. I'm not looking for any suggestions on that for myself. I'm just going to share with you what I use. As far as the gear that I do have, I used all of the surveys from halfwayanywhere.com, the PCT surveys. I just looked at the list of gear that hikers used over the years and there was a lot of similarities. So quilts, packs, jackets, those sorts of things. So nothing earth shattering here. I'm going to show you what I've been using to cover thousands of miles on the trail, stay comfortable, safe, and healthy. So first up is the pack. This is the ULA Circuit. This is their Ultra version. This has only been out for a couple years. The fabric in there is a little bit more water resistant than their traditional packs are. I use the ULA Circuit on the PCT. I'm very familiar with it. I'm comfortable with the pack. I know how to load it. I know what kind of weight I'm comfortable carrying in it. So the familiarity there is great. So I'm going to go with the ULA Circuit, just the updated version here at 2.2 pounds for this particular pack. Next up is the Enlightened Equipment quilt that I use. This is the Revelation quilt. It's a 950 fill, 20-degree bag. This bag has been awesome. I've used it for thousands of miles. And actually over that time, I hadn't realized how dirty and kind of compressed it had gotten. I sent it to a company that Enlightened Equipment actually recommended on their website. I think it's called eClean. They did an awesome job cleaning this. They use like a CO2 process, so it's way easier to ship it out and have them do it than just trying to do it in your bathtub or something. It was like, I don't know, $65 or $70 or something to have it shipped out, cleaned, and sent back. The process took a couple of weeks, but man, the bag lofts better, and the material kind of crinkles like it's new again, so definitely worth it if you've got some gear that's older and needs to be updated to have that sent out and have that done. I'm not sponsored by them, just another small company that does great work. So this quilt here with that little refresh from them, I think is going to be good to go for the PNT. As far as sleeping pad goes, I've been a Thermarest guy since I started backpacking 25 or 30 years ago. At the time they had a self-inflating mat, which was pretty cool. This one does not self-inflate, but this is a Thermarest Neo Air Uberlight. I've used numerous different variations of this. This is the first time I've used the Uberlight itself, but I know what I'm getting with this. I know what to expect, so pretty happy with sticking with something like this. I've only ever had one issue with Thermarest in a lot of miles. So pretty confident that this will be ready to go hitting the PNT. Paired with that, I also have a sleeping pillow that I use. This is just a Sea to Summit sleeping pillow. It looks a little dingy, but it has been cleaned. This has got a lot of miles on it too. Super comfortable. Definitely a nice game changer when it comes to sleeping in the backcountry. And for the tent, we're gonna go with the X-Mid 1 from Durston. I have had a bad personal experience with the DCF or the Cuban fiber stuff in the past. It's not for me. No problem with the folks that do use it. Glad you enjoy it. It's just not something that works well on my end. So this I like because it's polyester. I like that it doesn't stretch. I like that I can use my trekking poles to set it up. It's perfect. This is just the one-person version, plenty spacious. I did upgrade the stakes to the MSR Groundhogs, the 6 or 7 inch longs, so the longer ones that they have. And then I've got a couple backup stakes in here too. But nice, lightweight, compact, should work great for the PNT. So cook set, pretty basic. I'm gonna go with the Evolve Supply Company titanium mug. I like this because it's similar to the Toques in terms of size and weight, but it's got some features that I think I'm really gonna enjoy. One is a wooden handle on top, not that little wiry thing that you always burn your fingertips on. And then it's got a little pour spot on there too, which I like. The bail I think is a nice option too. In case the handles get hot, I can probably keep my fingers a little bit safer. And then inside of that, I just nest just like you would your stove. So MSR Pocket Rocket, I think this is like the second version. I just replaced my MSR Pocket Rocket that I've had for like 20 years with this one. This does have the little auto lighter on it, so that's kind of nice. And then just a basic fuel can. I also carry a second cup with me because I can't stand it when I'm trying to boil water or cook food, and then I'm also thirsty and I want a hot beverage. So in the morning I can drink my coffee and I can keep boiling water for whatever food I'm cooking. Or if I'm in camp, I can drink some tea while my dinner water is boiling as well. So it's nice for me just to have both of those options. So sort of also Cookset related is food storage. So I've got a couple of options. I've currently got this older Ursack. I actually just ordered a larger one and then one of the OpSack liners to go in it, and that's my plan is to use that on the Pacific Northwest Trail. I really consider bringing a bear can the whole way. Since I will be alone for most of the hike, until I run into other hikers, I guess, to gang up with. I thought this might be a good, safe alternative. After looking into Ursack and the little scent-free OpSack stuff, seems like that's a good way to go. There also hasn't really been a history of bear encounters with hikers in terms of getting food. So as much as I think this would give me some peace of mind, I think the flexibility with this in terms of being collapsible and just a lot lighter is going to be a better option for me. So that's what I'm going to go with, just that OpSack and the Ursack for my food. So for me, comfort is key, and I'm also pretty high on recovery when I get to camp. So to that end, I have a couple things that I bring with me. I know a lot of hikers, especially ultralighters, won't bring maybe a set of clothes to sleep in. For me, I like to have something to change into, get out of my clothes at the end of the day, so whatever I'm wearing can kind of air out and dry. This is for a couple reasons. One, just my own comfort, and then two, keeps my gear cleaner, so I think it works better. So like my sleeping bag, for example, I can just keep it from maybe getting quite as grungy and as dirty. To that end, I also clean up all the dirt, dust, and grime from the day before I go to bed or put on my camp clothes. I don't like to drag all that stuff in with me. I feel better when I keep myself clean. Even if I'm dry camping, a couple ounces of water and something like a handkerchief or something wipes off all the dirt and dust and sweat, and it makes a big difference for comfort. Outside of that, camp clothes wise, just a pair of polyester tights. These are from REI. Smart wool, long sleeve, like 150 weight, so kind of their lighter weights top. I've also got a bug net that I bring with me. A pair of gloves, which are not waterproof. I think I'm gonna try and find some waterproof ones. It's just miserable trying to do anything when your hands are cold, and sometimes these can make a huge difference as far as that comfort goes. Those I'll probably wind up sending back depending on how cold it is or how I'm feeling. Sacred socks for sleeping, so something nice, dry, and warm once I get to camp. On the self-care side, I do like these calf compression sleeves, so once I get to camp, I'll slip these on. Also, if it's really cold out, I might keep these on in the morning when I start hiking, just to keep my legs a little bit warmer. I typically hike in shorts all the time. And then a couple of items that I've had with me for decades. Actually, all these two items have been with me on every hike I've done since 2010. This is my sleeping beanie. I don't have any hair, so I need something to keep my head warm. And then my buff. So this is great, keep my neck warm if it's really cold out. It is another nice layer for warmth. Head and neck area. It also, I can use it as like a night visor shade thing, so if it's a full moon or if I'm in a campground and there's a mercury light or something right ahead of me, I can use this to cover up my eyes and just give me a little bit of extra help trying to keep it dark so I can sleep. All that stuff goes inside just a really nice lightweight Sea to Summit waterproof bag, which sits inside of my pack. Moving into outerwear, again, nothing too earth-shattering here. This is the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer. This is the 800 fill jacket. Works fine for me. I had one on the PCT and I loved it. It just had so many holes and was so tamped and worn down. I needed to replace it, so picked up a new one. From Montbell, Japan. That was a fun ordering experience. I picked up the Montbell Versalite rain jacket. Really nice, couple of pit zips on there. I think this is gonna be a nice upgrade from the Outdoor Research rain jacket I've been using in the past. And then something I'm gonna carry in this hike that I don't normally carry are rain pants. And this is more specifically for bugs. Mosquitoes are my nemesis, and I find that bug spray only goes so far. So my plan is to just have these to help tackle some of that. And then depending on what section I'm in, could also be windy, hail, rain, all that sort of stuff. Might be nice to have something like this instead. In the past, I've used a rain kilt, which was okay, but I don't get the leg coverage I need against the bugs. So that's why I'm gonna go for this instead. Next up, we've got the electronic side of things. Pretty basic here. I've got a battery bank, 26,800 milliamp. I like this because it's actually lighter than carrying two 10,000 milliamp banks. So nothing crazy here. Amazon, super cheap, but gets the job done. Headlamp, nothing crazy here. I actually rarely ever use a headlamp while I'm camping. It's just nice to have one. When you need it, you need it. So always good to have. A couple different cords, one for my phone, one for the battery bank, and then one for the GPS. As far as the GPS goes, Garmin InReach Mini, nothing crazy there. I've used this a lot, especially fly fishing and hiking. It works great for me. I know how to use it and I love it. And then I've got just a single outlet charger thing, but it's got 2 USB ports in there so I can charge 2 things at once, because who wants to wait for one thing to charge at a time? And then all that just goes in another waterproof Ultra Cell bag. This is just a little 3-liter one. For me, it's nice just to keep this stuff separate. If I get into town, I know I can just grab my bag, I can head into wherever I'm going to start charging stuff or whatever, so it's nice for me to just keep it all separated this way. So a couple of other things that are super important, obviously hygiene. So I carry a long handled toothbrush because nobody wants to stick their dirty, grubby fingers on a short toothbrush handle to get their back teeth. Just go with the long one, it's fine. A little tube of toothpaste. Earplugs, essential. I do carry a little signal mirror also. It's just nice sometimes to have that. 1, just to have a mirror, and then 2, obviously if you get stuck, you've got that on hand. I also, for this trip, will be carrying a compass. I know it's part of the 10 essentials. You're probably supposed to have it for the most part. I typically don't, but I'm gonna bring it on this trail. There is some bushwhacking and stuff I need to do. I will have a map set with me and then a compass as well, should I need it, just in case anything goes wrong with the GPS or my phone or battery power, any of that kind of stuff. For me, I'm gonna feel a little more comfortable having that. And I don't know that I'll carry it the entire trip. Maybe partway through, I'll send some of that stuff back. My beard tends to get really bushy and unmanageable when it grows out, so I'm going to bring a little comb. I do carry a Sawyer water filter, Sawyer Squeeze, and then I carry an extra O-ring. I've learned in the past to always have an extra one of those. I do have a pack towel as well, again, just like keeping clean. Also, if it's really hot out, I'll dunk this in the stream. I'll kind of hang it around my neck. It does help to keep me nice and cool. So I just like having that around, and it weighs like ½ an ounce. And then I do have the repair kit for the Thermarest. And then inside here, I also threw in some tenacious tape. So if I happen to snag my jacket, one of my jackets or sleeping bag on something, get a hole in it, I can just use this to cover that up and I'm all good. And then a first aid kit. So this is just the ultralight, watertight medical kit. Most everything in here was expired, so I just updated everything in here. But it's pretty basic, just your basic like aspirin, that sort of stuff, Band-Aids, tweezers. So nothing crazy and over the top, but nice to have. And then the bathroom kit is gonna look pretty familiar, right? So some Ziploc bags to put your waste in, a little bit of hand sanitizer. Obviously your toilet paper, got another extra baggie there. So toilet paper, I like the wet ones, wet wipes, and then deuce of spades to get the business taken care of. And then pretty basic, it all just fits in a little Ziploc bag. So I did mention I use the Sawyer Squeeze. In addition, I carry 1 or 2 of these collapsible 1-liter water bladder things. They're super nice. If you've ever been on a hike where you've got to get water out of like the tiny trickle that's coming off a piece of bark and then some intricately placed leaves, these are much easier to fill typically than trying to fit a large 1-liter hard-sided plastic bottle into some of those tight spaces. So I like this for flexibility, especially when it comes to some of the resupply or the water kind of resupply areas. And then the hard water bottles are super nice for things like lakes, moving water, that sort of thing. These I don't use that often, but it's nice to have, especially when the water collection is tight to get to. Wrapping up trekking poles. So these are the Alpine Cork carbon ones from Black Diamond. I had a pair with thousands of miles on them. I absentmindedly left them leaned up against the car. I was doing a training hike with the dog. I put him in on one side of the car. I was eating lunch out of the back, kind of a tailgate scenario, and then closed up everything and just left. And like a week later, I thought, oh shoot, where are my trekking poles? Lost them. So had to buy a new pair, which is unfortunate. These are basically the same thing. I think the flick locks are updated and upgraded. These look actually pretty nice. And then I just wrapped some Leuco tape around one of the handles, but super basic. Obviously I need these as well for the Durston tent. This is what's gonna hold up my peak. So I'll be bringing these as well. One last thing I'm gonna carry for a little extra comfort is this Gossamer Gear like little folding pad. So in the past I've used like a sheet of Tyvek or something like that, which works pretty good for like a ground sheet and something to sit on. This is nice because it's a little bit thicker. I can also lay this down inside of the tent, which gives me a little bit more R value with the sleeping pad I've got. So kind of like a nice sit pad for camp, lunch, whatever, someplace to spread out, do some self-care. Like I said, it doubles up in the tent for a little extra protection for the sleeping pad, as well as the tiny bit of warmth. It's like a 0.5 R value. But this is nice. I just typically fold it up and either put it in the top or the bottom of my pack. I've got some straps on the bottom of my pack. I can loop it in there. So super nice to have something to sit on. This is crazy lightweight also, so worth the weight there, I think. Yeah, that should pretty well round out the kit. All right, that's gonna wrap it up. If you have any questions on the gear I've got, I'm gonna link my lighter pack down below. You can always check that out. It's subject to change. I think what I've got here is like 90-95% set, but there may be a few small changes or adjustments as I go. Again, I'm not really looking for suggestions on how to make things lighter or gear to switch out. And I traditionally try and keep this channel more geared toward training because that's what I do. But I also recognize that having your gear set is pretty important. When I'm doing my training hikes, for example, I'll load up my pack with all this gear. That gives me an opportunity to learn how to set it up. For instance, carrying a bear can, learning how to pack that and pack things around there is important. So if I do practice like I play, load up the pack, load it up with whatever weight stuff I think I might carry, and do those training hikes, I can start to figure things out like how the pack needs to fit, what adjustments I might need to make. If something's squeaking and needs to be attended to, I can manage all that stuff before I go on my hike, and it just makes one less thing I have to worry about once I get out there. So play with the gear, use it, know how to adjust and make those changes, and use your training hike time to do that, and it makes your hike experience much better. With that, we'll say happy trails.